Producer Joe here from the Working Fans Podcast. And at the Working Fans Podcast, this is just a podcast that three lifelong fans created to have a place to talk comedy and pro wrestling. Now, our comedy podcast releases every Tuesday, while our wrestling podcast releases every Thursday. We release bonus episodes under the moniker Working Fans Presents every now and then. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, any major podcast provider. The important thing is just please like, rate, review, subscribe wherever you listen to us. Now, we have started a new thing. We are now on Amazon and Audible. So those episodes release every Monday. And that's kind of going through the archives and just releasing our old episodes in a new area. So if you want to live through the process with us again, take that journey with us again, you can find us over on Amazon and Audible. Now, if you can't get enough of us in the audio form, check out our YouTube. It's youtube.com/C/Working Fans Wrestling Pod, or just search Working Fans Podcast on YouTube. We have the whole archive is up there. And if you listen to the Working Fans Podcast, you are more than familiar with the 531. That is our signature segment where we take your top 5 list on a particular subject, vote it down to a top 3, and then debate it down to a top 1. Now, guys, if you want to hear 3 guys talk shit about comedy, wrestling, life, anything, you will enjoy the Working Fans Podcast.
Everybody, it's the Working Fans Podcast with a man called Dave and AJ Strangebrew. And we're coming at you with your top women's prospects. AJ, we have not a big list today. We only have like 3 lists, and then mine and yours. So 5 lists.
Yeah. My list doesn't have this guy.
Minoru Suzuki, for the people who are just listening in audio. Yeah, it's got a picture of Minoru Suzuki. Yeah, no.
Oh, sorry. I forgot that we do this also just for audio.
Yeah.
I think everybody should watch us on all platforms and listen to us there also.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that.
It is better if you can look at these, though.
Yes. Those eyes. All right, let's start off with our list here. I got a guy who probably gave us, I would say, the most
in-depth list.
In-depth, but also like he gave us definitely the most like independence and people starting off. Scott from Voluntown. He's got Trisha Adora, Janani Akai. I'm not sure how to say this name. Janai. I know Kai. Kai. Janai Kai. I don't know her. Janai Kai. Yeah, I've never seen her. Masha Slamovich.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Will Nightingale.
She better make a few lists.
Will Nightingale, who I've seen on MLW recently. She's good. And Kendi Copeland, another one I haven't seen too much of yet either. So. Scott,
not one of the daughters of Edge and
not of Beth Phoenix and Adam Copeland. Yes. Yeah.
Why could I not come up with Beth Phoenix? Maybe because I've been thinking prospects.
But she's no prospect.
And she got no prospects.
Yeah, Hall of Fame, baby. Hall of Fame. We got Randy Osga. Now you know Randy's gonna. He is
not a top female prospect. I don't care.
No, but he's got lists though. He even got a bonus list here. He's got Casey Lennox, Layla Gray, Lady Frost, Christy Janes, who works out of Texas and stuff. I've seen.
Yeah, Christy James rock solid.
Ali Rex and Amber Nova as his bonus pick.
Dude, love Amber Nova. She better make a list because she's a friend of the show.
She did our show. We got Mike Caldwell, who sent us a list. He's got Tessa Blanchard, Sky Blue, Killer Kelly. That's a good one. I think she took some time away recently, actually, though, so that might be a problem. But Holidead and Alison Kaye. Holidead has been on MLW as well lately, and she is also, I've seen her before team up with Thunder Rosa. Now, they did the Twisted Sisters gimmick.
Now, I got to ask you, due to the fact that NXT has gone back to being some of the newer talent, do you think that some of them would fall into the prospect range now?
So this is how I decided would be a good way to do it. To me, you could even take I'll give you my list, actually, and then I'll explain. Because I think this will be I got Trisha Adora. I got legit Leia Hirsch, who's obviously on AEW, but to me,
but she spends more time on Dark than she does on. To me, if you're on Dark, that's where they put their prospects. That's where they put the people from the Nightmare Factory, stuff of that nature.
Right.
So I'm with you.
I got Will Nightingale, and then my last two are actually champions. Roxy, who is the Ring of Honor Women's Champion.
Yeah, I know who Roxy is.
Is also not in business right now. We can talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, that's a whole nother. They're actually, all their people are reaching out and doing independent bookings because of that. But we'll talk about that.
And my last one, which is going to be the most arguable one of all, I got Camille. And here's why. She's the NWA Women's Champion. But this is why I'm looking at it. Unless you're one of the focal points of like the women's division on a national television scene, like a Britt Baker or a Bailey or a Sasha Banks or, Thunder Rosa, like you really are kind of a prospect still.
So here's the funny thing. You're going to think that I'm going to argue with that, and I'm absolutely not.
You have Camille on your list.
I actually don't have Camille on my list, but I'm not going to argue with that because the NWA to me is still not large enough to be considered anything but an independent. And the people from their show obviously still work other companies, still work other.
Sure.
To a point, even though Impact has made great strides, you could even go as far as some of the Impact talent still being independent prospects. So
absolutely, I was going to Impact as well. Now there are some people that Mickie James is not going to qualify as a prospect.
I wouldn't put Deonna Purrazzo on there either, just because she's made enough of a name for herself. I wouldn't put Tessa Blanchard on there, even though she's independent. I know she's on your list. She made another list. No, she made another list.
She did make another list. Yeah.
I would not put Tessa Blanchard on there because while to me she's too big of a name, she's gotten to a point where she's a bigger name than most of those people that
she is.
The only thing that's ruined it for her, quite frankly, and the only reason she's not in a major organization is because she has a horrible reputation for attitude.
Right. So, Madison Rayne is an established talent.
Yeah, exactly. You can't take a 5-time freaking champion who is established and everybody knows who they are and call them a hot prospect.
Yeah, no,
in my opinion.
But I think Camille has not been on that national stage.
I don't think enough people actually know who Camille is.
No, she's had that one thing on AEW where she stood over legit Leia Hirsch. And I think Camille, when you talk about prospects, like NWA and Mickie James is the Impact Women's Champion. She's on NWA. What's stopping from Camille? What if they do a little business and Camille ends up holding both titles?
Yeah,
and then she ends up on AEW. She has so much potential just off her look, and I don't think she's reached it yet because not a lot of people have seen her.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Well, we'll talk about my list first.
Yeah, go ahead.
You might debate my list, even though I have champions on my list. I have the tag team champions from NXT. I think Toxic, I don't think that they've made a high enough platform yet to actually be considered anything but prospects at this point, even though they're the women's tag team champions down there.
Is that 1 and 2?
I'm putting both of them on there. That's 2.
That's 2. Okay.
Yeah, I think both of them have their upside. I think both of them have tremendous. Whereas I don't consider Mandy Sachs to be.
No, she's been on the main roster already. She's been at Manias. Right.
Exactly. That's
You've had your
I
chance.
don't consider her a hot prospect.
Right.
That's I did have Killer Kelly on my list. Mm-hmm. I think Killer Kelly is somebody who could be a big name and could do things. AEW, a lot of the women in there have made great names for themselves, but they have 2 of them that I think have bright futures that have not come enough off of Dark yet to make it to where they're going to be. So I've got Layla Hirsch also because I absolutely love her. Yeah. And then my final one, this one I think might confuse you a little bit, might actually throw you off. I like Red Velvet.
Okay. I see what you're saying there.
I don't think she's had a big enough program yet to be a big name or to be anything but a prospect. And this was tough for me because I do watch a lot of independent wrestling, and I did want to put people like Megan Bourne on there, who wrestles for New England, for Northeast Wrestling. She's actually got a very bright future, tremendous athlete. I wanted to put Amber Nova on there because she is a former friend of the show who's done interviews with us, and she's got a great deal of talent. There are so many wonderful women out there working right now that are absolutely incredible. I mean, one of the people who has not made, who I think is a big name and no longer a prospect, just because I think they've missed their window on being a prospect, is Alison Kaye.
Yeah, she got mentioned on this too. I was actually just looking at her when you said that, and I was thinking, like, man, Alison Kaye's been around the block too. So it's really interesting to think about these people that have been around the block. But
Alison Kaye, unfortunately, I think is in a similar boat to what we're seeing right now in NXT well, no. I was going to say with John Morrison's wife. Why am I going blank? And Valkyrie, Taya Valkyrie.
Yeah.
I love Taya Valkyrie. I think she's a tremendous talent. But as far as the WWE is concerned, due to their age, when it comes to women in the WWE, there is a certain amount of ageism, and there is a certain amount of a certain body type, we'll say, that they like. And unfortunately, I don't think Alison Kaye or Taya Valkyrie fit into that. And I think their window as prospects is closed.
Yeah, I would say with the exception of NXT and NXT UK, you really can't put main roster WWE women's talent on there just because they're constantly on TV too. So they're in that mold right now. Unless you
want to count the one from frickin' Hit Row.
Sure, I'm not counting her.
I'm not counting her because I think she's straight garbage.
I don't. She shouldn't be wrestling.
Actually, I should rephrase that. I don't think she's straight garbage. I'm sure she's a wonderful young lady. However, her wrestling ability is straight garbage.
She shouldn't be honest. She's also, I don't know how much experience she's had. She probably shouldn't be honest. Yeah.
And I'm not knocking her for taking the spot. Damn it, if the WWE comes to you and says, "Hey, you're ready," fuck yeah, take it and go.
Yeah.
However, WWE, you're morons.
I have to say, it's interesting because, like I said, we didn't get a lot of lists.
This was a very tough one for me. Similar to Scott, I watch a lot of women's wrestling. I love Shine. I love watching Shimmer. I love watching the women in England for oh God, why am I going blank? Revolution for why am I going stupid today? Sorry. But I love watching different forms of women's wrestling because their athleticism has changed so much and has become such a tremendous staple right now. If you look at the WWE, AEW, you look at some of the matches, look at the match that once again, Deebs and frickin' I can't say her name, I'm gonna butcher it. Had this week. Absolutely incredible again.
Hikaru Shida.
Yeah, I always butcher her name. That's Hikaru Shida.
Yeah, she's great. Hikaru Shida. She's great.
The two of them beat the living hell out of each other.
Yeah, they had a fantastic match. I'll tell you this too, Serena. As AJ knows, I got to go to that AEW this week, and
I'm looking forward to seeing that match that you saw for. I think it's for
Rampage.
That's I'm looking forward to that Abaddon versus Britt Baker match. That sounds like it was a freaking slobber knocker.
It was a fun match. It was a treat. I mean, Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson steal the show, no doubt. But I mean, it's hard not.
Yeah, but we're just talking women's right now.
I know. I'm just saying
it's going to be hard for any match to beat Bryan Danielson and freaking
actually,
Eddie Kingston.
Seidel and Dante Martin followed that shit, and they couldn't follow that shit.
Yeah,
how often did Matt Seidel and Dante Martin, who's like fucking a superhero, like got boring chance?
Yeah, and they put him
boring chance because it was right after Kingston and Danielson.
Yeah, when you have two stars like those, that both of them are freaking do stuff that you can't even imagine doing, and they're getting boring chance. That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. So, this list is tough. To come up with a top three, I'm gonna say I saw Holiday here. I had her on a list, and someone else says I think she should make a list.
As I was hearing the list, I'm literally sitting there and I'm going, God, I would have put them on my list. Yeah, I could have put them on my list.
Yeah,
and it was such a hard thing. There's such a deep pool right now of women's wrestlers and independent women's wrestlers, and it is so hard to choose right now.
I'm gonna say
I love Lady Frost.
You know what? Somebody had her on a list. Actually, she can make the list as well. I'll say she makes her too. And I don't know, man. Nobody else had her, but I really feel like, and maybe we'll get some heat for this, but I feel like Camille is like, I really like that pick just because.
I do like Camille. Camille has definitely got hot prospects. Tell me with that build. Yeah. I think the only thing that could end up holding her back is her personal relationships, quite frankly.
Yeah, plus the promo ability too. She's a little.
But she can't talk.
Yeah, she's getting reps down there. But
China couldn't talk either.
Right. But that was the thing. She was great when she wasn't talking. She had that mystique about her, and I don't know. Maybe I'm
the problem is her voice is also just a little.
It doesn't fit. Vince would probably say she's a little too southern.
Exactly.
Well, all right. Maybe we won't put her down. And we got Lady Frost. We got legit Leia Hirsch. Let's do legit Leia Hirsch. And Holiday. We'll throw her in there. She got some votes. All right. Holiday
oh my God,
is on
tough.
MLW. She's doing great. But I would say Leia Hirsch is already right there. So I want to put her in our final spot for sure.
Yeah.
Legit Leia Hirsch has won Bloodsport. She's fought for the NWA Women's Champion.
You're not going to get arguments. You're not going to.
Yeah.
She made my list too. You're not going to get arguments from me. I would pay to see her wrestle you.
I would not want any part of that. Yeah. And she's been on Dark getting victories too. So I think I think her, and I would say I like the Lady Frost gimmick. I
like the gimmick, and I like the way she works.
Yeah, she works good. But I'm gonna say I'll put her at number 2. I think Leia Hirsch should take this. I think
to me, I'm all about Layla Hirsch. She was my number 1 on my list. I did put her into the middle of my list when we were talking about it, because I didn't want to give away too much of the sugar, if you will.
Yeah.
But she was my number 1 on my list. I think that she's got a bright future. I love every time I see her. I love her on Bloodsport. I love seeing her mix it. I like the way she worked with freaking Camille. That size difference could have easily went and looked like a domination, and she showed why she's legit.
I agree. Now, so like I said, we'll do a little talking this week.
Abaddon didn't make any of our lists.
No, I mean, hey, she's going to be main event on Rampage. Yeah, I'll give her. But I'm going to say this. I want to move on a little bit. I want to have a little talk here this week.
Absolutely.
Because we're talking about women, and Ring of Honor recently really put a focus on women's wrestling again.
Absolutely.
And we're seeing that. But unfortunately,
which unfortunately is probably why they're going out of business.
I don't know if that's why they're going out of business.
Maybe
it was not running shows.
It could be the not running shows that hurt them.
Yeah. I mean, it was great that they paid everybody too. But
no, I have the utmost respect for Ring of Honor. The way that they're
yeah,
closing down is world class. They've first of all, let's face it, for the last 20 years, they've been a world class organization where they
yeah.
have taken care of people. Yeah, they've had some ups and downs with different leadership at different times.
Mhm.
But for overall, I think that we were blessed to have Ring of Honor as long as we did.
Samoa Joe, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, AJ Styles, so many guys
American
cut
Dragon.
the chief in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was just going to talk a little bit about who are some of the guys you'd like to see end up in some other companies and maybe where. I'll get us started if you want.
Oh, go ahead.
Me and Scott were talking about this. Some guys I think Jay Lethal could go anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Brody King could go anywhere, especially with his size. I could see him in WWE even. Brody King is somebody I think
he's somebody who could come in and be in the Dark Order, could come in and just dominate.
Yeah, John Grisham is actually somebody I was telling somebody he would do really well to me, Jonathan Grisham, in like NWA.
I was thinking MLW,
New Japan, and even NXT UK with the round.
Let's be clear, NXT UK. We're saying not NXT.
No. I don't want to see him get embarrassed on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. They would do nothing with him. They would say he's too small, but like he would be great if he wanted to go to the European scene over there because I think.
Oh, absolutely! I'd love to see him versus Tyler Bates.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Good stuff. Who are some guys you think or girls you think would have?
Unfortunately, the first one that pops into my head is one that's probably not going to translate in too many places. Maybe in AEW. I love the Briscoes. I think they've carried on the legacy of their family.
Yes.
As a joke, they're not actually.
I know they're not related to Jack and Jerry. Yeah.
And but I think they are absolutely fantastic.
He said that fast. That's why I was like, wait.
Yeah, they've definitely carried the mantle over there for the tag team success, and they've made a lot of teams look good. So I'd love to see them go to AEW. They had great matches in the past with the Bucks and stuff like that. So
actually, Dax, I believe it was FTR, tweeted out the other day, Briscoes, and then one of the Briscoes responded, "Name the time and the place, we'll be there," and they tagged Tony Khan. So. I am all about.
I hope
we
so.
Can see the Briscoes versus FTR.
I know a lot of people haven't seen the Briscoes just due to the fact. I mean, most people that listen to our show or watch our show have seen the Briscoes. But if you haven't had an opportunity to see their work and see what they do, it's just pandemonium. You need to check it out.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff possibly on the way for some of these talents. I know that they still have one more pay-per-view, I think Final Battle coming up, and no one knows for sure. But everybody, I think it's a century release. And how Ring of Honor, if they're going to work or not. I mean, the rumor is they're going to possibly run strictly as an independent organization. But I don't know how you keep champions and storylines if you're going to do that. So
they have a very good women's division also. So they focused well on it. They did a great job over there. Built a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of veterans came in there and worked also, like the Beautiful People and stuff like that. So you know what? RIP. We're gonna miss you, Ring of Honor. Hopefully, we'll get to see some independent stuff from you, and it'll be great.
Absolutely, and we'll be looking forward to seeing where some of these guys end up. I think that'll do it for this week. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, Halloween Havoc sucked.
I liked Halloween Havoc actually. Rick Steiner's son versus Ciampa. I thought was pretty good.
It was a good match. I thought that they, in their attempts to make him look strong, I think they exposed a little bit of what he hasn't learned yet. And how to work the match. And maybe I'm just looking at it from a tough perspective. But when you have somebody who you're building up similar to a Goldberg build, you have to protect them similar to Goldberg and not show their weaknesses. And by having him try to sell for Ciampa, they expose some of his weakness.
Yeah, well, I'm going to talk a little bit more here before I go because you got me thinking about some stuff now. You got me a little fired up.
I shouldn't say Halloween Havoc sucked. There was a lot of good for Halloween Havoc.
Io Shirai damn near killed herself for that match.
Yeah, the women's three-way dance was freaking fantastic. I love seeing
I thought it was one of their better shows, honestly, in a while.
Yeah, I did actually enjoy a lot of the stuff on there. I wasn't fully fair. I don't give a shit about the new Uso.
The new Uso?
Yeah. That's literally their little brother.
Yeah.
So you can call him what you want. You can call him the Street Fighter, Sequoia, whatever.
Yeah.
But he's literally the Uso's youngest brurother. He even has the same tattoos that Roman has in the freaking. If you want to set yourself aside and look different and do something different, here's an idea. Don't get the same fucking tattoos everybody in the family has.
So when you said that about Halloween Havoc, I'll tell you where my mind went. So Ciampa was Joe and Scott will know this, and I'm blanking out. We're not gamers though, but Ciampa was dressed like that God of War character.
Yeah.
And so
which I thought was stupid as shit.
I knew you would say that. And Stu Grayson, who looks like Ciampa, was also dressed like that. Now, that train of thought though I wanted to ask you about this. What did you think of the Dark Order versus the Elite match this week?
I enjoyed it. I not fully. I'm not.
Did you have a problem with the Ghostbusters outfits?
I was going to say I'm not a big fan of the dressing up like that. I get it. It's Halloween. I get it. I do.
Yeah.
But
I thought they were a lot of fun.
I enjoyed the end. I thought it was a fun match.
The
problem is, well, I don't enjoy matches where you have that many people working at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it turns into a spot fest, which is already what the freaking Bucks do. And I did enjoy the end. I thought it was a little obvious that Hangman was in the Stay Puft Marshmallow and not in the other costume.
So I'll tell you, for me, I went to the concession stand, and it took a while, so I couldn't see the entrances. And so I thought Hangman was the horse at first because I hadn't seen the entrances. And then I saw him come back out again. I saw him kick him in the balls. And I'm like, that's not Hangman Page. I'm like, they wouldn't just do that. I'm like, that's probably Brandon Cutler. But I couldn't see the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man the whole time from where we were sitting, and I didn't see the entrance. So I didn't know Brandon wasn't masked. But I'm like, that's fucking Brandon Cutler's got to be the horse. And I'm like, wait a minute.
But here's the problem. I get that he couldn't talk to tell him who he was. He couldn't take off his mask.
What's with the hands tied? I don't know.
I don't
know. I thought it was pretty funny. I could tell. I'll tell you one guy who you could tell was not enjoying it completely. It was Jim Ross, who, when he said something today, I believe he said protein packs or
proton packs.
Proton, that protein.
He might have said protein packs.
He was not happy with it. I know that. You could tell in his voice,
Yeah, but I don't like. But I don't like all that gimmick shit.
But I mean, to be fair to Jim, I think Jim gets shit on for this, and I'm a fan. But I think people have to understand too. His job is to be the credible announcer, so he really shouldn't be putting over. And the Bucks are heels anyway. Everybody's heels, so it's fine. But I thought it was fun.
I thought overall, I thought Raw put on their best show in a long time.
Okay, we had a lot of wrestling this week. Raw, I heard they had some really good matches this week. I did not actually.
They did. They put together new matches. They had a lot of influx of new talent. I think they did a good job of getting over some of the new talent. And it focused more on the wrestling compared to what Raw usually does. It was very more. It was much more SmackDown-ish than it was Raw. And you know what? If that's the direction it's going to go on in the future, it won't be like watching paint dry for me.
I did want to add something else too to that AEW thing we were talking about. Where I stand on this a little bit too. So the Ghostbusters things and all that stuff, I didn't have a problem with it. I think that's fun. Where they could lose me, and they didn't do this, is and I heard somebody make this reference. It might have been Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer, but if they had done something where they were taking out the proton packs and they were trying to pretend like there were streams and then everybody took a bump or something like that, over.
Oh my God, that would have killed me.
Yeah, I would lose
killed me.
interest right away. I don't like the.
I might
all that
start
shit.
watching something else on Wednesdays if that happens.
The invisible hand grenade. I'm not a fan of that. That loses me. That's a little too silly. But
how did you feel they did getting over Preston Vance this week, number 10?
Get him over. You mean when they just beat the shit out of him?
Yeah, they really showed that the strongest member of the freaking Dark Order they really showed him off this week.
Yeah, no.
Put him in that high-profile match and then gave him about 3 minutes of ass whooping.
Yeah. No.
To a point where they busted him open through the mask.
I don't think that. People like now. Not a good time to face Moxley. I feel like you're not going to be getting a lot of offense.
No, if they're not turning Moxley heel, I don't know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. The only problem is people are cheering this.
Yeah, Moxley will not run through Bryan Danielson that way. That will not.
Well, he did run through a fan. I don't know if you saw him opening up the gate at the end. He kicked the gate open. Yeah, literally the steel rails just went straight into the fan.
That's pretty good. I'll have to watch it. I was there live, so there's probably things I missed. So that's
right. Dave was live and in Technicolor. He kicks the gate. If you watch it, he kicks it open the guardrail, and literally it just goes right into the fan.